Welcome to this episode of John's Journal, and we're digging deep in the adventure of Nicholas Cresswell, and he's in the backcountry of Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and it's starting to get a wild and woolly with the folks that he's taken on this little that he's going with down there. You got to choose the people you go on adventures with. Okay, just carefully choose them. Obviously, we're going to learn from that as we go through this journal. Monday, May 8th, 1775. He's been on the river about 9 or 10 days. Heavy rain this morning, which obliged us to make a sort of an awning of our tent cloths and blankets. So these are awnings on the canoes. So it's raining like crazy, and it's like, how do we keep from just getting totally soaked? Got around the horseshoe, a large curve around 4 miles made by the river in the form of a horseshoe from whence it takes its name. Here is excellent land. Past a number of small islands. River continues rapid. Camped about 4 miles below the horseshoe, where we met with some people who gave us some very bad encouragement. Say that the Indians broke out again and killed 4 men on the Kentucky River. My courageous companion's spirits begin to droop. Tuesday, May 9th. Proceeded down the river past 4 islands. About noon, got to the mouth of the great Conaway River. Here is a large picketed fort called Fort Blair, built last summer by Colonel Andrew Lewis, and then he confirms the account we heard yesterday. My companion's exceedingly fearful, and I am far from being easy, but am determined to proceed as far as anyone will keep me company, drifted all night. He doesn't want to go by himself. Found ourselves opposite Gwyndotte Creek on the east side of the river. Rode hard and got to Sandy Creek to breakfast, where we found Captain Charles Smith and camped with 22. He was taking up land, as we are now out of inhabitants. So inhabitations is what he means there. People are starting to choose places to take the land. Intend to stay here for Captain Lee. So waiting for Captain Lee, I believe. So they're still at this location, which would be the fort. And he says, Tuesday, May 11th, employed in washing our linen, mending our clothes. Friday, the next day, this day held a council whether we should proceed or turn back. After much altercation, our company determined to persevere, though I believe they are a set of damned cowards. With much persuasion, prevailed upon them to let me endeavor to make our canoe more safe and commodious. This has been a most arduous task to effect. So difficult it is to beat these people out of their own course when it is for their safety. I'm sure they thought he was a jerk, but I think he had a good idea here. Saturday, May 13th. Camped at the mouth of Sandy Creek, employed in fixing our canoes together by 2 beams, one athwart the heads and the other at the stern, setting the canoes about a foot apart. It's not very far apart. On the middle of the aftermost piece, I fixed a strong pin that hung the rudder, made something like an oar, but bent down towards the water and projected about 2 feet astern the vessel. Rigged her out with 4 oars and called her the Union. Some of our company laughs at it and declared she will not answer the helm. But it pleases me well and hopes it will deceive them. Sunday, May 14th. Camped at the mouth of Sandy Creek this morning, very wet. After dinner, Mr. Edmund Taylor and I enter into a discourse on politics which ended in high words. Taylor threatened to tar and feather me. Obliged to pocket the affront. Find I shall be Toryfied if I hold any future confab with these red-hot Liberty men. A memo. Taylor's usage to be remembered. Now remember, he did that before when he went on his trip to the West Indies. he was going to thrash the captain because of what he did with something else. He didn't actually end up doing anything like that. He seems to make a lot of these memos about, don't forget to fight with this person or that person. I don't know if he's the easiest person to get along with. Maybe he shouldn't be having political discussions with other people that he has to rely upon instead of whatever. May 15th, left Sandy Creek finally. Captain Lee not arrived. Find our vessel answers well and gives universal satisfaction to the company. One of the company shot a turtle, which made us an excellent supper. Land good and level in general. All of us strangers to the river, drifted all night, kept watch, spell and spell about. So nobody else knows this part of the river. So they're all basically in the same canoe, passing down the river here. They eat a turtle. So it's one of the many kinds of things they keep, it's like they didn't bring food to feed themselves the entire time. They knew they would have to survive upon the land as they went. Just like Lewis and Clark and so many other folks, you gotta find food along the way. Tuesday, May 16th, past the mouth of the Scioto River in the night. This river is on the northwest side. Stopped to cook our breakfast on a small gravelly island where we found plenty of turtle eggs, with which we made pancakes equal in goodness to those made with hen's eggs. And he goes on to talk about turtle eggs. Another one of those things they find along the way. It's like, oh, turtle eggs. And then we skip down a couple days here. They had wild turkey on one day, and here we are at May 17th, and it says as soon as they stop to hunt. Wednesday, May 17th. Stopped at Bracken Creek and went a-hunting, as they call it here. Mr. Rice, Johnston, and I went together, and in a short time Mr. Rice fires at a buffalo. Johnston and I went to him and found him standing behind a tree loading his gun, and the beast lay down about 100 yards from him. It was a large bull, from his breast to the top of his shoulders, measuring 3 feet, from his nose to his tail, 9 feet 6 inches, black and short horns, all before his shoulders, long hair, and from that to the tail as short as a mouse. So he doesn't mean the tail is short as a mouse. He means the hair is short as a mouse. So he's got long hair in front, very, very short hair in the back. This might be the forest buffalo as opposed to the plains buffalo. I am certain he would have weighed 1,000, so 1,000 pounds. Thursday, May 18th. All hands employed in curing our buffalo meat, which is done in a particular fashion. The meat is first cut from the bones in thin slices like beefsteaks. Then 4 forked sticks are stuck in the ground in a square form, and a small sticks laid on these forks in the form of a gridiron about 3 feet from the ground. The meat is laid on this and a slow fire put under it, and it is turned until it is done. This is called jerking the meat. I believe it is an Indian method of preparing meat. It answers very well where salt is not to be had, and will keep a long time if it is secured from the wet. The lean parts eat very dry. Buffalo flesh differs little from beef, only rancor in taste. Hot weather. So we get to hear about the smoking and drying of buffalo meat. And then, this is so that we've got something to eat along the way. Making your own provisions. Saturday, May 20th, in the morning, in doubt whether we passed Elephant Bone Lick or not, went ashore at a small creek on the southwest side in quest of it, but in vain. Believe we're too low down the river, according to our charts. Begun to rain about noon. Floated down the river till night, where we moored to a stump in the middle of the stream. Some of our company are in a panic about the Indians again. Shot at a panther this afternoon, but missed him. Hot weather with thunder. And this is the last of the Ohio. This is May 21st. Proceeded down the river. About noon, got to the mouth of the Kentucky River on the southeast side. The Ohio is about 3/4 of a mile wide here, the Kentucky about 130 yards wide at the mouth, and continues its width about 2 miles when we camped at Beachy Bottom. And that's the adventure as he gets to from the Ohio. So they're going down the Ohio. Now they'll go up the Kentucky River. Total change of technique here. Floating down the river, no problem. Paddle, paddle. Easy going. They just kind of drift along if they're lazy at night. But going up the river, that's a different story. So going up the Kentucky, we'll stop at that point. That's a lot of reading, and we can see that, the personalities are starting to rub a little against each other here. And I'm not sure if, Nicholas Cresswell has kind of put himself into a culture that is not his own. Most of these other men are in the same situation, battling the same things, and they have the same sorts of goals. They obviously are able to do those things in a community heading toward the same direction. They might be in competition in some way, but they also know that they have to survive with other people. They can't do this alone. So you're competing, and yet you have to have other people help you out. Nicholas Cresswell is an outsider. Somebody from England who's just along for the ride. He kind of maybe is going to end up doing the same thing they are. So you can tell that there's some trust issues there. He doesn't necessarily trust them, not the same culture, not the same goals. I'm surprised he gets along as well as he does with them, especially with, the brewing revolution that's going on, a couple hundred miles away all along the East Coast. So it's an amazing situation. And it's not only that culture that they're going to have to deal with, but they have this sort of indirect, Native American hostility going on at the same time, and they're concerned about that. We can read a lot into that, and we can feel for Nicholas Cresswell and some of the other guys along on the journey at the same time. It must have been like one of those reality shows where they, are trying to decide who they're going to kick out next. Can you imagine this as a reality show? It's interesting because we've got it sort of written down for us. Pick to fight with so and so today. A lot to learn on this adventure as we go digging into the journals of the 18th and 19th century. And the more I think about this, the more I dig into this, the deeper and deeper this little project goes. This idea of digging into the journals and talking about them, I feel like I'm nibbling at the edge of a pizza that's like 1,000 miles in diameter. There's a lot here. That pizza is probably not the best analogy. Great cake from the 18th century, a giant cake maybe I think that would be good. So, imagine a great cake is like a fruit cake. You get all these kind of fruits in it and everything. Anyway, like nibbling at the edge of a great cake, 100 miles in diameter. There is so much to cover, so many things to compare and contrast, so much to learn, and we can get an amazing picture of what it was like to live in the 18th century. I hope you've enjoyed this episode today, this adventure, this journey down the Ohio River. I hope you've had a great day. I want to thank you for being amazing support for me here on Townsends Plus. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.